Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me, as always, is Connor.
Whoa, what are you doing?
Swerve.
Stop distracting me.
Are you watching football right now? Get it off!
Would I
Get
do
off.
such a thing?
Get it
Hey,
off!
Connor.
No, you will give us your full attention, you ginger cretin!
Connor.
I was just kind of waiting for you to get through your intro bollocks, and then I'll give you attention.
Connor.
I'll pay attention, yeah?
I don't think it's coming home.
It is,
Because
it is.
You got to play us.
We do, and you ain't
No.
standing in the way.
I think they are.
Look, you maybe have a very good team who may be the the current holders, but screw it, it's coming down.
Right, the pair of you shut it. Matt's here as well.
Yeah. So I was at the gym this morning, and the Netherlands and Italy game was on, and of
Good
course,
game.
Spoiler: Netherlands won, and the entire Italian team was crying, and I felt so bad. Like, yeah.
It's a big deal for the Netherlands. It's the first time their women's team's ever made a semi-final. So
Oh snap!
it's
Final Four.
big for them. Yeah.
We talk about DC Comics on this show. It's a comic book podcast. Coming up on this week's show, we have... Oh, actually, Connor, did you read Detective Comics?
I didn't know. Did you?
No, did I?
I saw that.
Yes!
It was the spectacle. You have failed this city, and I went, I'm good.
Yes.
I told you it was teetering on the edge, so no Detective Comics there. So we're going to have Action Comics 1012, Wonder Woman 73, I still say 71, that's clearly wrong, just fix that. Flash 73, Justice League Dark number 12, The Terrific 17, The Silencer 18, that is the final issue of that book, and Dial H for Hero number 4. And it wasn't actually until I was doing this list that I realised, wait a minute, why is Batgirl not here? Why did I not read Batgirl this week? It's because it got pushed to next week. Yeah, so... that is that. We do have a bit of news though, and I'm sure we'll dilly-dally and some tangenting as we go.
The people insisted we do.
Yeah.
2 people on Twitter is not the entire audience.
It's
the real
enough.
people.
It's more people that said not to do it.
Yeah, which was a 1.
People of Twitter, our dear listeners, please voice your anger over this wasted football talk time. Please do.
Can we at least talk about Megan Rapinoe, who's she's an American player, and she's quite fantastic. She got into a bit of a spat with Trump this week. Basically, she went, "Hey, if we win and we get invited to the White House, I'm not going."
Mm-hmm.
And Trump couldn't let it go,
Of
as
course you can.
expected. And he goes, "Well, who said?" He goes, "Well, who said you were even invited anyway?"
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Well, screw it. Win or lose, you're invited. Turn it down now."
That's like you can't have cookies for dinner.
Of
Fine.
course.
Yeah. No, you know what? You're having nothing but cookies for dinner. All right. Yeah. She's also the same soccer player that was the only one that would kneel during the anthem. So she's not that she's a shit stirrer, but she knew this is what the reaction from him was.
No,
gonna be.
absolutely. Yeah.
So, and like a bull, he falls for it every time because he can't help
She
himself.
should kneel during the anthem. You know what? Do you know what? I will take a dumping your flag during the national anthem if you want. I'm willing to do it. I'll take one for the team.
Jericho has a story about almost getting arrested in Brazil for kicking their flag. So Pete,
Oh, crap.
I wouldn't be messing with other countries' flags, bud. Like,
Hey, I'll take a dump. Hey, I'm actually quite happy with my country. I'll still take a dump on the flag if given appropriate motivation.
If I had no other toilet roll, I would happily use a flag.
Yes.
God.
Because we don't really have any sort of attachment to our flag.
Yeah, and while I'm on the subject, I have no idea what the lyrics of any national anthems are, so including my own. I'm not even entirely sure which song is my national anthem.
Isn't Scotland the Brave? Isn't that Piper's music?
I think it's technically Scotland the Brave, but most events use Flower of Scotland instead.
Okay.
So
To be fair, England has a similar thing where, it's God Save the Queen, but that's a boring ass song. So we often use Jerusalem.
I don't even know what that is.
You listen to it, you'll have heard it.
Okay.
I figured it was the 007 anthem, but I guess I'm wrong.
That would be better.
Yeah. That's my favorite part of going to sporting events where we play a Canadian team because we get to hear "Oh Canada," and that song's a banger. And you get everybody singing it. Like
Yeah, that's a good national anthem.
I went to the Knights versus the Winnipeg Jets, and there's a ton of Jets fans there. So once "Oh Canada" starts, they have a part where, because their whole thing is "True North" is one of their sayings, and everyone hit it at the same time, and it gave me goosebumps. And I'm not even like, A, it's not my team, B, it's not my country. Like, but just the fact they all did it at the same time, that's real cool. But yeah, no, Scotland the Brave's a great one. Like that song makes me want to fight. Probably because it's Piper's music, but you know.
Nah. If you're in a different country, though, most people expect it to be 500 miles, which for some reason that song spread.
Yeah.
That song is terrible.
Yes. But what makes it better is when you hear Peter Griffin from Family Guy sing it.
Oh, God, Matt. Don't bring a Seth MacFarlane thing into this. I'm not having this. I'm not having it.
So what's this news?
That was the news. Alright, hold on. I get into the right tab here. So first things first. Jesus Marino and Vicente Cifuentes, I don't know how to say your name, have joined Wonder Woman 75 because it's an oversized issue. So it's Armanico and obviously G. Wilson are still there as well, but it's a longer issue, so extra artists for extra pages. Could be backups.
A little bit because shifting in the middle of a story is always more jarring. But maybe it's split into backup. Yeah.
There's some mic noise coming
from
Connor here. I don't know if he was fiddling with it or if his fan is now aiming right at it, so I'm getting some noises.
He was reporting it in from it just
the last sentence.
I just said, what did I say? I don't remember. I'm sorry. I'm trying to think what this is.
No, we heard what you said. It's just it was also accompanied by.
It sounds like you're calling in from a category 3.
Literally nothing changed. Nothing moved. I didn't even move my hands. Nothing hit the mic.
I'll plug it back in and give it a tab. I think it may be that old thing that used to happen. It's just kind of.
He could work for my company as a tech guy because that's what he always says.
Hey,
plug it back in.
I know you've not watched Chernobyl, Matt, but there was a really good meme I saw today from Chernobyl, right?
It's not graphite.
If we're not allowed to talk about football, you're not allowed to Chernobyl memes.
Where Dyatlov, who was in charge of the plant that night, says there's something wrong with reactor 4, and then it's just Chris down from the IT crew say if you try to turn it off and on again. Oh, so good. Anyway, so extra artists on Wonder Woman 75 because it's oversized. And then the next news, shocking absolutely no one, although it's a shame. Shazam issue 7, which I think is the next one, has been delayed by 7 weeks.
Yeah. I read that it was originally solicited for June 19th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and now it's August 7th.
Yep, August 7th, which means Shazam 8 and 9 will also be moved back, going from August 21st to September 4th for issue 8. Go to August 21st for issue 8 and September 4th for issue 9, I meant to say.
They're not hitting that.
Probably not. 10 still solicited for September 18th. That is definitely not happening.
So it's going to take 7 weeks to get issue 7 out, and then we'll get 3 issues in 6 weeks after that. It's not happening.
Carr sounds like he's on a beach somewhere when there's like gale force winds like hitting him.
Why is this just started? Nothing's changed.
He's like a weatherman and his hair's all blowing and we just hear all this rumbling as he's trying to talk it at the mic.
Damn it.
Yeah, Kyle, I'm here down at the beach. The weather's very severe.
This was fine for like 20 minutes before we started.
If you want to be on a surfboard, the conditions are peak. Got a nice offshore wind.
I slept through this.
Causing a nice right to left break.
Oh dear. Alright, so some proper news then. New pop-up imprint from DC called Hill House Comics, which is actually curated by Joe Hill, who's Stephen King's son and the writer comic-wise of Lock and Key. So we have a whole slate of books coming from this, the first of which is coming October 30th, which of course makes sense, Halloween. That's just the first one, though. We actually have solicits, not with dates, though. We don't know what the dates are for the rest. We also don't know how long any of these books are. They're all limited series, but we don't know what the length of the books actually are. But we do have solicits for every one of them, so brace yourselves here, because I've got a nice bit of info coming for this.
All I know is that means Halloween's on a Thursday, which means I'm taking off Friday. Yes.
Fair. Absolutely fair. So the one is...
Yes, Halloween's Brexit Day, so it's going to be juicy.
Oh, that's a horror story. Yeah? That's excellent news. So the first book, which is coming October 30th with issue 1, is Basket Full of Heads. I actually got confused when I first glanced at these because I didn't read the introductory paragraph. I was just looking at solicits, and I was like, why did none of these have like issue numbers on them? But it's just because they're doing this advanced thing. But these are issue 1s. So Basket Full of Heads, which is written by Joe Hill, art by Leo Max. The rain lashes the grassy dunes of Brody Island, and seagulls scream above the bay. A slender figure in a raincoat carries a large wicker basket, which looks like it might be full of melons, covered by blood-stained scrap of American flag. This is the story of June Branch, a young woman trapped with 4 cunning criminals who have snatched her boyfriend for deranged reasons of their own. Now she must fight for her life with the help of an impossible 8th century Viking axe that can pass through a man's neck in a single swipe. And
I was out now, man.
and leave the severed head still conscious and capable of supernatural speech. Each disembodied head has the malevolent story of its own to tell, and it isn't long before June finds herself in a desperate struggle to hack through their lies and manipulations, racing to save the man she loves before time runs out. So she's got a bunch of talking heads that she's decapitated with her Viking axe. That is the premise of this one.
I'm in.
Yeah, I'm in as well.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, Brody Island makes me think of Jaws. Seagulls, I'm out. I don't like birds. Viking axe.
Hey,
keep going.
Depending on how heavy my load is, I might read this every month for the show. I mean, I'll see, like, you know, what the book schedule's like, but I could be into this.
You know, technically, any axe you can pass through a man's neck in a single swipe if you swing it hard enough.
Yeah, I don't think many axes leave the heads alive, though. No.
They did find a Viking axe that got stuck in a head in a archaeological dig. So that's how hard it was swung that he could not pull it out from the head. So he just left it there.
So get another one.
Yeah.
Axes are pretty cheap weapons by design.
No, they were. That's why the Vikings used them. Swords were expensive. Axes were a multi-tool. Use them for everything. So
they're much easier to make. So, you know, but it's like, just abandon it. It's fine.
Yeah.
So that's Basket Full of Heads. Then the next book, these may not be the order they came out in, admittedly, but this is just in the list here.
It's interestingly not the order they were announced in the original article either.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
So this is The Lolo Woods, written by Carmen Maria Mikado with art by Danny. What's with all these one-named artists these days?
I like it.
Every one of them's trying to be the Madonna of comic book art.
I feel like it works better with art, though, just because you see it signed.
Sure.
It's just a name, you know?
I can see that. Yeah. So this one, a mysterious plague is afflicting a small mining town of Shudder.
No, it's called Shudder to Think.
Oh, Shudder to Think. Yeah, I got confused there. I was like,
Pennsylvania.
It's because the Shudder to Think is it's capitalized.
Two's not capitalized.
Yeah. It's not. So it looks weird.
Yeah, Shudder to Think, Pennsylvania. Yeah, that's the one's naming their town. That's silly. Anyway, it strikes seemingly at random, eating away at the memories of those suffering from it. From tales of rabbits with human eyes to dear women who came to the windows of hungry girls at night, the town is one of those places where strange things are always happening, but no one ever seems to question why. The Lolo Woods is a gruesome coming-of-age buddy horror story. I want a buddy horror story now. It's a buddy cop thing, but with horror. Anyway, a coming-of-age body horror mystery series about 2 teenage women trying to uncover the truth about their mysterious memory-devouring illness affecting them and the people of the small mining town they call home. And the more they discover, the more disturbing the truth becomes.
Well, it sounds like Silent Hill.
a lot of that one's going to come down to the art, and I'm not familiar with the artist, so I don't have much to judge on it.
Yeah, cover has a very different style to, but it's worth mentioning all these are under the Black Label imprint, if you will.
Yeah, so it's a Black Label imprint, but a sub imprint within Black Label.
Yeah, which is the
Hill
same
House.
way I think we're seeing the other things working now. But it's very clear that Vertigo. Maybe the name's gone, but these are all very much Vertigo books.
Yeah, because Lock and Key was Vertigo, right?
No, that was IDW.
That was IDW.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! Shows you how much I know.
But the cover's a very different style from the previous one. And
yeah, it's not the artist that did the cover, so
interesting. Actually, I really for the reference, I really like the cover to Basket Full of Heads.
Yeah.
Also,
not the interior artist.
Huh. Danny's art looks pretty good. Like I'm looking at it right now.
Cool.
So yeah, very very horror focused.
Yeah.
Like real dark. I'm seeing a lot of DC stuff though, but yeah.
Yeah,
that Ivy looks great.
That's good. No, I mean, I'm all for DC having more horror comics. Like, yeah, by all means, do it. Like, yeah. I'll try them. Next up, we have the Dollhouse Family, which is written by Mike Carey with art by Peter Gross. I'll look at the cover for this one.
Again, different artists to the interiors.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the cover though. I want to see what sort of vibe it's giving me.
They all have, while they're different styles of art, they all have the same kind of structure so far.
Yeah, keep fiddling with your mic, Connor, because you're sounding terrible.
Should have said more terrible than usual.
Yeah. So Dollhouse Family, on Alice's 6th birthday, her dying great-aunt sends her a birthday gift she didn't know she always wanted. A big, beautiful 19th century dollhouse, complete
I'm out.
with a family of antique dolls. In hardly any time at all, the dollhouse isn't just Alice's favourite toy, it's her whole world. Soon young Alice learns that she can enter the house to visit a new group of friends straight out of a heartwarming children's novel. The Dollhouse Family. This is creepy as shit. As the years pass, Alice finds herself visiting their world more frequently, slowly losing track of where reality ends and make-believe begins. What starts as a play concludes in an eruption of madness and violence. Oh yeah. Childhood ends, but that little house casts a long shadow over Alice's adult life. When the world becomes too much for her to bear, Alice finds herself returning to the dollhouse and the little folk within. The house can offer her shelter from all her sorrows, but only if she gives it what it wants. And God help her if she tries to walk away again. This sounds like a. I can already see this playing on the idea that it's really about mental illness. Like I can already kind of see that in the description.
Yeah, it sounds potentially creepy as shit. And adding to the fact that this just feels like Vertigo, Mike Carey and Peter Gross, the team behind Lucifer.
Yeah, I mean this pop up just kind of says to me, yeah, we're still doing Vertigo books, we're just doing them under DC Black Label now.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this last week. Long term, I think this is a good idea for them to consolidate it under the DC brand. It feels weird right now in this transition period. Yeah.
So I'm down for trying all these so far, but let's see the next one. Daphne Byrne is the name of the book. So again, I'm going to look at the cover, and yes, different artists from the interiors. This has got a very... I don't want to quite say American Horror Story, but the American Gothic painting, right? I'm getting like a creepy kind of version of that vibe from it. Not that wasn't already a little bit creepy.
The site I'm on doesn't have any of the pictures, so I'll take your word for it.
There's a girl on the front, but you've got this creepy bald guy behind her with yellow eyes, kind of with his hand over her face.
Nope.
Proper creepy. So this is written by Laura Marks, art by Kelly Jones. In the gaslit splendor of the late 19th century New York, rage builds inside 14-year-old Daphne. The sudden death of her father has left her alone with her irresponsible, grief-stricken mother, who becomes easy prey for a group of occultists promising to contact her dead husband. While fighting to disentangle her mother from these charlatans, Daphne begins a sense of strange, insidious presence in her own body. An entity with unspeakable appetites. And as she learns to wield this brutal, terrifying power, she wages a revenge-fueled crusade against the secret underworld that destroyed her life. So this is your supernatural one. Like, I'm liking how some of these are. I mean, not that the talking heads aren't a little bit supernatural, but this feels more like a ghost story with like spirits and things, as opposed to that, which feels a bit more revenge.
Well, yeah, we're talking about a cultist group and dead.
Yeah, that's where I'm in.
Contact dead husbands. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is very different to the Viking heads.
Yeah. Now, I'm liking how different most of these sound, which is nice. The next one is called Plunge, and it is once again written by Joe Hill with a TBD in the artist credit. There's a cover though, and again, I actually like this cover again.
Dope.
Yeah, it's nice.
These last two covers feel very different from the first three, which I feel have a kind of uniform style and layout to them, whereas these last two kind of throw out the window.
I don't like how much I've gotten my comic list down, and now these are going to come out and just mess that up.
On the upside, Matt, all the double shippers are going single in January, so I mean...
Yes, I know, but still, that's,
That helps.
A little.
Yeah, so always nice to hear from Connor reporting from the windy beach of
You don't need to keep saying
South
it. We
Wales.
Wales. Is Wales the only place over there that has a nice beach? Is that why you say that?
No, I imagine them having the worst beaches imaginable, which is why I'm saying Wales.
He says in Scotland.
Oh, come on. Scotland's better than Wales. No one's disputing that.
I mean, as a general rule, sure, but when it comes to beaches, I'm not convinced.
Yeah, well, do you know what everyone on the beach in Scotland are doing? They're not speaking Welsh.
That's true. They win.
They're speaking Scottish, which vaguely sounds like English, but is definitely not.
Shut your face, you idiot. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Plunge written by Joe Hill. In 1983, the Derleth disappeared. This is a ship, by the way. Which I mean, it would probably make that clear in the description as well, but going from the cover, it's a ship. The Derleth disappeared, wiped out in a storm on the edge of the Arctic Circle. The world's most advanced research vessel in the hunt for oil, lost in the aftermath of a tsunami. Almost 40 years later, the Derleth begins to transmit a distress signal once again. Oh, I love this. I love this. There's a lot of this left to read, but this already sounds great.
This is very Carpenter.
Yeah.
In description.
Hill already said this was his take on the thing.
Oh, yes, baby. Please.
There you go.
Calling into Alaska's remote Attu station from the most forlorn place on Earth, a desolate ring island in the icy faraway. A US salvage team made up of experts, scientists, and mercenaries helicopter in just ahead of the storm, and the Russian competition to find the abandoned wreck hung up on the island shores of the atoll. As a wintry blizzard clamps down, anomalies begin to surface. First the samples of an oil with unlikely properties, and then the sonar readings of a sunken prehistoric civilization just offshore. Still, nothing could prepare the salvage team for the reappearance of the Derleth's crew from the island cave, no older than they were 4 decades ago. Every one of them struck blind by an inexplicable infection, and yet capable of seeing in new ways, possessed of extraordinary powers, and stripped of all but their last vestiges of humanity. And then it says Sea Dogs as well, which it says is a backup story. Presumably it's a backup to Plunge, because it comes right after that. But
okay, so the rest of them are good, right? I want to read them all. Let me get to this one.
Now Connor's in space because there's no sound at all. He's just in a vacuum.
Am I back?
He's back now.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's a backup to all of them, which is frankly a bit shitty. It's 2 pages in the back of every one of these.
Oh,
comics.
Interesting.
I think that's bullshit.
They'll release it. Well, they'll release it collected.
Yeah,
they will eventually, but it's shit if anyone wants to read it as it comes out. Maybe that's the one they're interested in more so than others. But then you have to buy all of them.
That's me. But I'll wait. That's fine.
You will, but some people won't because some people have no self-restraint, and this feels shitty and preying on those people to me.
Joe, it's nice to hear that the wind's died down on the beach there. It's finally calmed down.
So what's Sea Dogs?
If someone wants to draw,
excited about it.
If someone wants to draw a new T-shirt design of Connor standing on a beach with his hair all blown in the wind, I mean that'd be ideal. Anyway, Sea Dogs. But just for the record though, Plunge sounds fantastic. I want more Plunge.
Yes, Plunge does. It makes sense that that's his take on the thing.
Yep.
Because it seems very much of that. Now Connor's in the dark.
Now the sun's went out.
the sun is going away a little bit.
Oh, this is great. So Sea Dogs, the backup story, which is written by Joe Hill, artist TBD again. The revolution is screwed. In 1779, the pathetic American Navy...
It got rough.
I was not expecting this description. In 1779, the pathetic American Navy is a pile of smouldering wrecks choking the Penobscot River? Yeah. Yep. Not familiar with that river, but yeah. Imperial Britain has amassed the mightiest fleet in the world has ever seen, led by the HMS Havoc, a 90-gun second rate that has sunk a forest of French, Spanish, and American frigates, sketching the trail of devastation that stretches all the way from St. Kitts to Machias, Maine. Is it Machias? Machias?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's probably Machias.
I assume so.
Yeah.
But notice Maine.
Maine, sure, yeah, we're getting a king locale, yeah. The faltering Continental Congress can't hope to match England's sea power, and they're just desperate enough to make a deal with the devil, or even three. Spymaster Benjamin Talmadge, Talmadge, okay, I'll go Talmadge. Benjamin Talmadge, what a name, proposes allowing three lycanthropes to be pressed into British service aboard the Havoc. Three patriotic werewolves might be all it takes to butcher the ship from inside out and paint the decks red. It's true, their powers are infernal, their minds are mad, and their loyalty can in no way be trusted. And yet, what else can desperate nations do but let slip the dogs of war?
Yo,
this sounds fantastic.
Give it to me right into my veins right now.
And this is why I'm annoyed that this one sounds the best, yet it's split up in 2-page.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't think it sounds the best to me. It sounds like maybe third.
It does to me.
Well, that's fine. But to me and Connor, you got flipping sleeper cell werewolves in the American Revolution.
What's not to love about that?
Yeah. Oh man.
Like.
And the phrase "three patriotic werewolves." Come on.
I've got a funny feeling there's going to just be like, this will become like a segment on the show now when these books come out. We'll just have a section at the end called the Hill House block. Because I mean, presumably it'll just be one book a week because it's not like there's enough books to have like 5 a week. But
oh man,
there's going to be a segment on the show now because I'm reading most of these, if not all of them.
Yeah, out of them, the Dollhouse one, I'm kind of that one, and
that's fair. That's probably the
Mining
low end.
Town.
The Dollhouse one sounds least intriguing to me on premise. I agree, but I like the team a lot.
Yeah.
So,
but also, who knows? Like, we could have our list of expectations here. They could all be flipped around once we actually read this issue once. Like.
Yeah. But Basket Full of Heads is a definite.
I think all the Joe Hill ones are. I think all the Joe Hill ones sound great.
And the Daphne Byrne, that. Well, you had me at Occultists. I love that whole concept.
Well, of course. Okay, so I gotta just say my one wish for Sea Dogs is that at some point on this British ship that they've got the three werewolves infiltrating. I hope at one point someone turns to the captain and says, "Who let the dogs out?"
It was the Jim face from The Office that just made that. The joke was terrible.
It was terrible.
Oh, I knew it was terrible, but that wasn't going to stop me. That was not going to stop me. No, sorry.
You're a regular Michael Scott.
I feel like for anyone listening to the audio version, I would recommend going and watching the video clip of that because I feel like my face after it was what really made it work. So.
Nothing made it work. It was terrible.
It worked. You just don't have no taste. All right, so there's another book announced this week, though, from
the best
DC.
book of the week.
Nah, the Horus batch was better. So this is a fantasy book. It's a 12-issue series starting in October. It's called The Last God.
30th, so the same day as the first Hill House one.
Is it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's at the bottom of the article. I think I got in there. So yeah, 12 issues. Written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, art by Riccardo Federici, who we do know. He did a lot of Aquaman stuff over the course of Rebirth.
It's I don't want to call him Sejic light, but it's very reminiscent of Sejic.
I can see a lot more pencil work in his work. Yeah. Whereas with Sejic, it's all it's painted over.
Yeah.
Right.
I can still see the pencils in this.
Oh, well, again, that's why I don't want to call it light, but it's very reminiscent.
It is. It's why they were a very good match on Apple.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll read both these paragraphs here. So there's one that's basically just the creator speaking, I think, and then the actual description from DC. So it's a terrifying horror story. I mean, it's horror at least. I mean, horror fantasy I'm a little bit more on board with. Terrifying horror story told in a stunning epic fantasy world set in 2 different generations. It follows the mighty fellowship of heroes that travels beyond the borders of creation to kill a god, and the next generation who learn their predecessors aren't the heroes the world believes them to be. That came from Johnson. For fans of D&D, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, and Magic the Gathering, not me then.
It's like, I am out.
Well, I mean, I'm okay with D&D. I like the idea of D&D, but Game of Thrones...
The rest of them... Yeah, but Pete, there's 4 things. You're like, I like one of them.
Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones, man.
That said, I got to the Tolkien episode this week of Legends.
Oh.
And yeah.
I don't remember the Tolkien episode. What happened to the Tolkien one?
World War One.
Oh,
the Fellowship
within the church, and it was all
the spear. Yeah.
It was a great episode.
It was the penultimate episode, I think.
Oh, okay, so, I can't remember.
But yeah, it made me like Tolkien. I'm not gonna read those books or watch those movies again, but
Yeah, that finale that comes after that one's really good, Matt.
Yes, it was. Well, I already watched that. Yeah,
I already watched it. Okay.
I finished season 2. On to Barry, and then probably something else, and then back to Legends. I'm working a weave in.
Season 3 is the Bebo season.
Yes, I know. I'll get there.
It's also the season where you get Gary.
Hash goes, I feel like you've been watching this for a while. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm doing like 2 a night for like a couple, So yeah. Anyways,
So yeah, here's the actual
description
here. 30 years ago, a fellowship of legendary adventurers saved their world by slaying a demonic tyrant, Iltep, the last god. Following his downfall, the realm entered a new age of peace and prosperity. But a generation later, when the leader of the original fellowship dies, their children and successors learn their terrible lie. The last god still lives. So yeah. So they must finish what they started, basically. That's the gist of it. Yeah. So I assume this is also Black Label. Yeah, it is.
It is, yeah. No, I think this sounds fantastic. It looks gorgeous from the preview pages. Obviously, I'm a bigger fantasy fan than I'm a horror fan anyway. So this is easily my favorite of the books this week.
I like that the cover looks like it has Thor on it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Sure.
Fighting some Lovecraftian-esque beast,
Yeah.
No, the monsters are what excite me. That's the only thing that really excites me about this is the horror monster elements of it. But this can go in the horror block at the end of the show with the other books.
I'm just noticing under the title on the cover, The Last God, it actually says Book 1 of the Fellspire Chronicles, which implies to me they have plans for a sequel because this is just a 12-issue series.
Yeah, but it also makes it seem like it's based off of another IP, which if you're going in, you like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
I mean,
it's a nice little marketing ploy.
I mean, unless it turns out that issues 1 through 4 are like book 1 and issues.
It could be, but this is a very fantasy thing to do, to have the name of your series, saga, chronicles, cycle is one you get a lot. With the catchy name, so that works well.
Yeah. Basically, if I see a book and I see the word Chronicles on it or Saga on it, I'm usually good to just drop it and ignore it and walk in the other direction.
So you don't like Brian K. Vaughan's Saga?
That's a comic book, not a novel.
You mean like the Dune Saga?
It didn't start off being called the Dune Saga, did it?
I don't think it started off called. Maybe it did, I don't know, but it definitely is called that now. That's
just stupid nerds naming things with really generic ways.
Yeah, stupid nerds.
It's like making a sequel to a movie and calling it resurrection. It's like, oh, come on, think of something that's not been used in the last 50 years, you bastards.
So you don't like the Chronicles of Narnia?
Nah, I don't really appeal to me now.
Yeah, no, me neither.
I like the books.
What's the one with the Golden Compass? But that's not a Chronicles or Saga.
No, that's
That's his Mortal Instruments.
Yeah.
Is Dark
I don't like
Materials?
those.
Is that a one?
It is Dark Materials. There it
That's
is.
it, yeah.
Mortal Instruments is different.
I
That's
only,
the
different,
difference,
yeah.
I only know that because the TV show is coming soon.
Yeah. Which I'm excited for because apparently the movie was really bad. So the show should be more in line with what.
Yeah, I didn't like
What
the
about the
books,
books?
so I'm not
Hated.
optimistic about that.
Connor, they have polar bears that fight. Is this the right
I
thing?
know.
Right?
I know.
Okay. I'm in. I'm simple. I like Vikings. I like bears. You give me those,
And werewolves.
and well, of course.
Matt, does it upset you that there's only like 2 or 3 good werewolf movies in the entirety of cinema?
That said, I like a lot of the bad ones because they're so bad. Like Cursed, not a good movie.
Oh, God,
Not
it's
a good
terrible.
werewolf movie, but it's I enjoy it. Wolf with Jack Nicholson, really bad. Is it entertaining? Yes. I haven't watched Silver Bullet since I was a teenager. You and Tim talked me off of that one. It's not even Tim. And Tim likes a lot of things.
I would recommend it if you like Gary Busey.
Yes.
You
But
want some
yeah,
Gary
it's basically
Busey?
American Werewolf. I do love American Werewolf in Paris.
What?
Yes.
It's American Werewolf in London, it's Ginger Snaps, and for me that's basically where it ends.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, people do like The Howling. I don't think it's really that great.
Yeah. Oh. Oh, what you're telling me, P, is we need to work on a werewolf thing.
Yeah. What about you,
Yeah,
cat?
we
Do you
go.
want to be a werecat? Or a werehuman, I guess, would be the term?
Yeah.
No?
I know werewolves. I like werewolves.
Eek. Alright, cat's gone. Alright, that is that the news? Well, we can move on then. Well, before we get to the books, I mean, we could talk about something else for a little bit.
You want to talk about football?
yeah?
then?
I don't know. There's some wrestling on tonight. Matt may want to talk about.
I got Fighter Fest.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So I can go grab some food if you want to do this for 10 minutes.
No, it's just it's for a free event. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Who is it? Is it the brothers against brothers? The Bucks?
No.
The Rhodes boys?
No. That's
No?
at Fright for the Fallen. Tonight is tonight. It's the Bucks and Kenny Omega versus the Lucha Brothers and someone else from
Oh shoot!
Triple A.
What is that?
Yeah, Triple A as they pronounce it. That was probably horrible. I'm sorry to anyone who actually speaks Spanish. I apologize for how I just pronounced that wrestling.
As well, you should.
Yeah, I humbly apologize to that. Yeah, but they just revealed the other day that Moxley and Janela is now no
It's
sanction.
unsanctioned.
Yeah, so it's going to be
which-
violent as shit.
Yeah. We went to our local Fed. They had their 10th anniversary show, and it was called a Heaven and Hell match. And I learned I don't like death or hardcore matches any more in person than I would at home, because they did this thumbtack spot, which was a superplex onto thumbtacks, and I was just like and then they did a Lego spot, which I've stepped on 1 or 2 thumbtacks, but in my life I've definitely stepped or fallen on more Legos and know how bad that hurts. So for someone to take a slam into Legos strewn about the ring, so
Yeah.
I'm not that excited for this Moxley match.
Yeah,
That's not enough to say.
there's no faking the pain for that.
No.
I don't know if we'll see Legos tonight though. I'm expecting light tubes though. I feel like I'm getting light tubes out of these two.
Probably. Yeah, so we got Omega and the Bucks versus Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid, Moxley and Janela, Cody versus Darby Allin, and then the one I'm really looking forward to, you got Hangman versus MJF versus Jimmy Havoc versus Jungle Boy in a Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah, should be good.
And Connor, Fatal 4-Way is 4 guys wrestle, first person to get a pin wins.
Do
So
you know,
that's why it's called Fatal.
on television from the Multiverse this week, we should all go check out
Yeah.
Hear Me Car talking about Swamp Thing and Krypton. I had to explain to Car all the different ways to win a match because I was using it as an analogy for something I
Yeah.
was talking about.
Yeah.
I've forgotten them all
Yeah.
already.
You got count out. You got pin. You got submission.
Yeah.
That's about
Straightforward.
Well,
Straightforward. All right. I'll talk about books. We'll put Carvey's Misery, and we'll talk about a Bendis book.
I'm just watching post analysis.
We will talk about a Bendis book because I know that's what Connor loves to hear about. Action Comics 1012. Brian Michael Bendis writing with Szymon Kudranski on the art.
Yeah.
What a name!
Close enough.
What a name. So I was curious about what this would be with Leviathan going on right now. I was curious what Action would be doing on its own. And interestingly, it meant obviously Leviathan's a big part of this book, but it actually writes off Superman by saying that he's going to do the main Superman book. It says no, he's going off with John for space adventures. So
this is basically the Metropolis book. What's happening in Metropolis?
Yeah, we get the criminals in the tank again. Talking about Red Cloud, fighting Superman and not losing.
And it seems like he's gonna make a move on I forget her name, but the main chick.
Leon, I think.
Yeah, Leon. So that's pretty interesting because you wouldn't think you have gang warfare in Metropolis, and now I'm wondering if Intergang is gonna get involved.
Yeah, and they know Superman's off planet because they see him leaving from the surveillance and whatnot. But they do reference that something's going on with Leviathan. That something weird is happening and everyone's been taken out. We get a scene with Clark and Lois in the fortress before he leaves. And there's basically just some delightful banter here about the first time they met and how she's sort of joking that she's been working a story all these years. She's just getting a story about Superman. That's all it is.
Is it just me or has Bendis written them in bed a lot? Like, they're definitely busy.
They're active. What could be said? They're both
very, very, very active.
Fine looking
this
people.
Is the most active in my years of reading Superman. This is the most times I've seen this.
When you get that kryptonite boner, you get that kryptonite boner.
I guess, but see, to me, I feel like it's more Lois than Superman.
Oh sure.
So.
Oh sure. Also, Superman cracks a joke here where he pretends that he's went away and done everything in super speed and came back. He's like, okay, back now. And she's like, it's cute that you still think that joke's funny.
Yeah. Well, because it is. I'm not.
It's pretty funny.
I was on Clark's side there.
Yeah. Do you know, I have to say, I never heard of this artist before. I actually mostly quite like the art. I do think there's one or two odd faces, but for the most part, I think it has a...
When it's not a close-up, it looks great. But, those pages that are close-up with Lois and Clark, Lois is not looking like Lois.
Nah, she looks a bit more... Oh, she just looks like a different person. It looks human. Yeah. It's not like she doesn't look like a person, but she looks like a different person.
But it doesn't look like Lois Lane.
Yeah.
We've had in this book different artists and their takes on Lois, and you're like, oh, okay. But here, not so much. But
I really like the coloring. I really like all the all the pages of the guys in the tank, all the dark panels of them, and all the shadows. I think all that stuff looks great. I like how the fortress looks. So I mean, for the most part, I like how the style of the art overall feels quite good. It's just some of the faces when they're kind of centered, they kind of don't work as well. So yeah, Superman flies off. We go to the Daily Planet, and we have Good bantering with Trish and Perry. She's looking for a story. They're also gossiping about Lois kissing Superman, so that's still kind of rumbling away in the background.
Yeah, and I love how they're like, oh, poor Clark.
Yeah.
He never stands a chance. So I like that they're playing with the love triangle. That's not really. So, but even Good's like, yeah, poor Clark. It's almost as if she suspects something.
Yeah, I'm wondering how they resolve this in some way. Does Trish just always think Lois is a cheating wife? is that where we go with this?
Do you publish that in the gossip column? It's one of your own people.
Yeah. Well, she did already, did she not? I feel like she did.
Did she?
I think she did.
I'll have to...
I don't know. That was obviously in a past issue. She mentioned that Good actually has a freak out moment where her hand turns into the Red Cloud.
Yeah.
Where she's like, "Oh shit, I need to hide this," and she's like, she drops the phone, Actually, I like the sequence of how it showed this. Actually, it showed the phone fall, and it's like, wait, why did the phone fall? You just see her hands like red mist.
Well, I like too that it's almost that she's not thinking, so it almost tells me like she has to think and concentrate to stay in the form, in her human form, and that her natural form is the mist or is the cloud. You know?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So she goes to see this Rose, who has a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde thing, where she turns into Thorn.
So are you familiar with this at all?
Not really, I have to say.
From JSA. So back in the Golden Age, Alan Scott's wife, who ended up, being the mother of Jade and Obsidian, was this woman that had the same kind of deal, where she was Rose, and then she had an alternate personality of Thorn. And then after Crisis, or not even after Crisis, they took that idea and made it a Superman character, which is this, to where as Rose, she's this nice, demure girl that lives in Metropolis, but as Thorn, she's this badass that goes out at night and fights crime or does crime, whatever she feels like, in the city. So I like that they brought this character in the way that they did it here.
Yeah, and I think the art did a good job of like having her face change. She immediately.
'Cause it's a different character, but it's the same character, and that's where Kudranski does a really good job. I can forgive the Lois stuff here, because when you get over to the Rose and Thorn stuff, it's a completely different character, and there's only subtle shifts. It's like the hair, in the eye a little bit, but just it's a different posture.
Yeah, different posture, different expression on her face. The hair just feels a bit messier. Just all those little things add up to making her feel genuinely different. So yeah, so what should tell good again?
But she's been fighting this. It's almost as if there's an invisible mafia in Metropolis, because she keeps fighting these drug dealers and thugs, but it almost seems like whatever she doesn't make a dent. But she feels like they're not the ones in control. Like there's someone in control, but nobody talks about it. Which with Good, who's involved in this, now, it feels like someone's starting to get on. So who got sloppy now? And I feel that that's where the tension's going to come from.
Yeah,
because
she goes back to Leon, of course, and says all this, and it's like, well, you're never mentioned by name. She doesn't know who you are.
Right.
I do want to say though, I really like the double page spread where she's explaining all this, and it's this red, bathed in red, and it's just her like killing
knocking
people.
Yeah. I also like the in between the panels. There's Rose and Thorns. So like when she's Thorn, the borders are all like rose thorns, like the stem. But then when she's talking as Rose, she is surrounded by flowers. Yeah. And pieces that aren't thorns. So it's a really cool thing.
And the final couple pages is Thorns just, we get to the end of the scene again, it's all bathed in red, looks really good. Yep. And she's finished like killing all these bad guys. And she's like, oh, sorry, Rose, you're waking up with blood in your fingernails again. And that's when the mysterious figure starts coming in. And the big reveal in the last page is that this is Leviathan. Yeah, that's whoever this is. We obviously don't know who Leviathan is yet, but in the mask.
Put me firmly in the camp that Leviathan's not the bad guy. Okay. Like I feel like Leviathan's methods seem like they're the bad guy, but when it's all said and done, they're actually going to restructure like all the different intel agencies throughout the DCU, and they'll actually be the quote good guys. And we'll find out that Sam Lane is bad, and the Wall, that's their actions have put them on the target. Because look, they're not actively going after Superman, right? Yeah. They just want to keep him busy. So I feel like if they were an actual bad organization, they would be actively targeting the heroes, and they're just not. So, and then especially after this, because we know Thorne's not like committing crimes; she's fighting crime. So why would Leviathan come to her?
And she's willing to go above and beyond what she's supposed to do. She because basically what this final moment is, it's a job offer. It's like, how would you like to make a real difference in Metropolis? So Leviathan's recruiting So, and this is a fairly one and done issue. It seems to be setting up just that. So next issue might jump ahead a little bit, and Superman might be back. Maybe we'll have no Superman for a few issues. I don't know, but it is tying into what's going on in Leviathan, though. So, exciting to see.
Yeah, but no, I love seeing the Rose and Thorn and seeing how that plays in, and I love that Bendis is weaving Metropolis much in the way that he did Hell's Kitchen. When you go back and look at his Daredevil run, we got to know all the little characters within. I forget his name, but he was Gladiator. He would make the suits. We got to see him and his relationship with Matt, and Alias investigations, and how she would interact, and Luke Cage and all this other stuff. And now I feel that's what's going on here. It's very exciting.
Yeah, and we're a year into this run. I mean, this is issue 12 of the, of the since they took over properly. So we've had a full year of Bendis Superman now. Which obviously is upsetting for some people, but it's been a pretty solid year of Superman stories for me, so I'm pretty happy.
And I like too that it's not just like if he's off planet, so this is the continuity guy in me. If he's off planet dealing with all of that stuff with Zod and Zar and his dad, then I like that he's filling in the gaps. This is what's going on in Metropolis when he's gone.
Yeah, this was definitely set before Leviathan, because Superman's back on Earth for the actual Leviathan book,
right?
Or is he actually? Because he wasn't actually there, was he? Because it was Batman, Lois, and Green Arrow.
Yep.
So he may
because he was taken captive. Remember, as Clark.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, that was in the special. I'm thinking more issue 1.
Oh, that's right. They're melding together in my head.
Yeah.
So because they came out so close together. But yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, he's probably off planet during all that.
Which is interesting.
And then we get Lois next week, so see how that plays in.
Yeah. So I mean, I think more than anything, what you were saying there is that this issue, and the book's been doing this in bits and pieces as well as it's been going, but this issue more than anything, again, expands upon the mythology of who we know in Metropolis and sort of building around the criminal underworld. The other characters are going to get involved in that. It gives a little bit of time to Trish. Perry's there. We get a nice slate of the characters. Do you know what I've not seen for a while? We've not seen the firefighter.
No. I'm sure
Melody.
she'll come back into play.
Yeah.
I'm sure she will.
But I was thinking that as I was reading this, because I almost thought that when Good went to see Rose, I thought, oh, is that Melody? Until she called her by name, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. But no, definitely. I can't wait to see what Bibbo's up to and all of this. So yeah, no, it's so good. I'm enjoying it.
All right, what are you giving it?
I'm gonna give it a solid 8.
Yeah, I'll agree with that score. 8 out of 10, which will take us on to Wonder Woman issue 73. Steve Orlando writing, he's a guest writer for one issue, with Aaron Lopresti on the art again for one issue. So this is just, and it is set within the story that we are at in the main book. It's a flashback issue mainly. It's Wonder Woman telling a story and explaining the chi dimension that they're in. And Matt's subtly shaking his head, so I'm going to assume that Matt did not enjoy this issue that much.
I didn't finish it. I fell asleep, and then
I don't blame you.
It was this. There's worse things than bad. I'd rather have something be bad than boring, and this was just boring. This is
the most fill-in of fill-in issues. Like
it's
any.
It's so by the numbers. That
here's the thing: if DC weren't committed to having 2 issues a month or whatever, to being on schedule as much as they possibly can. This would have just been delayed, and we would never have got this issue. The next issue, 74, would have just been 73.
Yeah, or this shows up in the backup of 75, of the history of Dimension Kai.
Sure.
Right? But here, it's just it's not badly written or poorly written. It's not. The art's fine.
You just feel like you wasted your time.
Yeah, there was nothing there. It was all filler. Yeah, it's what I would assume to be eating whipped cream for dinner. It's it's there, but are you getting any sustenance? You're not going to feel full, Well,
I don't like this comparison because whipped cream is fantastic, and I will not have.
That's fine. Whipped cream is fantastic, but do you want to eat a whole tub of Cool Whip for dinner?
Well, no, but
and that's your dinner. Yeah, like that's it.
That's
like
his point. He's like, no, it can be great on the side of something, with there, but. And I think that was where is liking it to, hey, if this was just in the back, a shortened version in the back of issue 75, this would be fine.
Okay.
But when this is your whole issue and all you're getting, and it
just
reeks of just, hey, the regular writer didn't have time yet.
Like when you get whipped cream, it's usually with something, right? It's not the main course. So you wouldn't order like an entire tub of whipped cream for dinner. Is my point,
This is the weirdest, most convoluted analogy that I think Matt's ever tried to use.
It is, but I can kind of follow what he's saying.
Yeah, thank you, Connor.
I guess I just don't see the comparison because, like, I didn't really enjoy the issue either, but I don't necessarily think I'd like it more if it happened to be a backup.
See, I think it would be... I feel like in a backup it'd be less pages, and it wouldn't feel... Like, you would accept it as filler, like, just for what it is, but as a whole issue...
No, I get it. It's context of, okay, this was $4 for this, when it's clearly just because Wilson hasn't got the next issue ready. Maybe it's the artist, whoever, whatever it was, is clearly the next issue wasn't ready. They knew they weren't going to be ready, so they went, well, we'll just throw in an extra issue somewhere. And that's all this is.
And the whole concept of Dimension Kai, I can understand where it comes from, but it's a little bit too tangential to what we've been doing. Like, it feels so different to the story that Wilson's been doing with the mythologies and the...
Well, that's a weird complaint, though, because we're still going to be in this dimension next issue. That's still Wilson's story and what it's going to be.
I know, and that's what has me worried.
Well, I'm not worried about that. I have no...
Because I don't like the Empress whole thing, like...
Well, I don't like that story in this issue, but like, I don't like have any. I have zero concerns about what the next issue is going to be because it's just back to Wilson. I think it's notable that this issue is easily the weakest issue of Wonder Woman since I started reading it again.
This issue is a wiki page.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt, Mike.
That's what this issue is. Hey, we're doing this story next, and we want people to know what this place is. So instead of them going to read a wiki page, they can have a whole issue telling you where. Realistically, this could have been, 3 panels of conversation of quick, brief exposition to get it over and done with.
Yeah, it could have been. But what I'm saying is that I'm not worried about the next arc. I'm not worried about Wilson's next story based on this.
I'm not either, although I think it's less that he was worried about, the content of this, more just the concept he wasn't feeling.
Yeah, I'm not feeling the whole concept of Dimension Kai where she created an alternate setting of what if Diana wasn't brought into her life. What she would have been like. And I'm like, that's such a weird...
It's basically the mirror universe from Star Trek.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's weird. So I'm not disputing that it's weird. I'm not concerned about what Wilson's going to do with it next because, well, I mean, I'm sure she's got a plan. I'm sure whatever she's doing, she's got a good story to tell. The idea that we're actually getting close to the Amazons, like, are they all hiding in this dimension or something? Is this where they all went?
Maybe.
We'll see, but... so we have this story where the Empress Hippolyta, because there's 2 Hippolytas, there's the evil Hippolyta, essentially.
The Empress versus the Queen.
Yeah, and regular Hippolyta and Diana are here, but Diana's locked up in a cell, and she's like, 14 or whatever, and Hippolyta has to do a game, like a series of tests against
a challenge,
Empress.
A trial.
Yeah. So I did laugh at the kangaroo kart racing, though.
I like that, though, because that plays into the whole Silver Age silly Wonder Woman stuff.
I did laugh at that, so points where points are due.
Yeah.
I did feel like the contest went on a bit long, though, because it was 4 pages of content.
Yeah.
It was, and it was fine, but it was like, okay, even in the filler issue, I've got filler pages.
Yeah, filler issue is filler. I don't.
No, but like even to this story, it felt like, okay, we can't even make this last 20 pages. We're gonna have to pad this out with how many different trials can we?
Yeah, but here's the weird thing though. I probably enjoyed those pages more than the rest of the book. They're probably the most fun it got. Seeing them play battleships was more entertaining than like her arguing with herself.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that.
Yeah.
Like, I want to tell Pete he's wrong, but I can't because
I'm right.
Just the whole concept of what this was. I'm just like, I don't know.
I think, see, the trick with a book like this, like, I have no problem necessarily with the concept of taking an issue to do like a bit of backstory like this. I have no problem with that. I think what you have to do though is go quirkier with it. Go like, okay, if we're doing this issue where it's just them in this world and how they get out, and we're doing this like Hippolyta versus yourself, then go mad with it. When they're playing battleships, actually have one of them say you sunk my battleship. Like, make it funny. Like, do something entertaining with it. Because as kind of Connor alluded to, or Matt said earlier, I don't know which one he said it actually, but what he said, you'd rather have something bad than something that's just in the middle and kind of bland.
That was me. Yeah.
Like, I kind of agree, because this is not a terrible issue. It's not like bad. It's just kind of there. It just kind of exists.
Yeah.
I got excited when Atom World showed up, so I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe this will have some, you know. Remember when Ray Palmer was missing, and that's where they found him. You know, like, yeah, bring in that whole Atomverse into this. So I did like that, because this is such a weird place.
Yeah, but like,
why not have Atom World?
There are things I actively dislike, though.
Wasn't that the part of that Justice League of America story though, where I hard outed of Orlando's book, was when they went to the Atomia or Atomverse?
I'm talking the concept, Pete, not the execution. I'm just saying,
we both hard dropped that book when he went there.
Yeah, but again, it's not the concept's fine. I like that there's this whole like place that Ray Palmer can go to that's like the Wildlands, and he can go there and, you know, be a chief for whatever reason. And, you know, I like that concept, and I like the idea that wherever this Dimension Kai is, it's adjacent to that. So
sure. What does Connor want to complain about? He was going to say something.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah, things that, you know, you were saying how it's not a bad issue, it's just there, and I agree to a point. But there are things I do actively dislike, like the way Diana actually saves the day. Kind of feels unnecessary, and just because, well, she's Wonder Woman, so she has to. It doesn't actually make any sense in the story.
I think the point of it is to show the other Hippolyta how Diana can be an asset to protecting Themyscira.
No, I get that, but I think there are better ways you can do that rather than just have her show up in the, you know, break out of a jail cell in the middle of a fight and come and just save the two capable.
Well, I'm not liking how they do it's one thing, but you just said that you don't understand the point of it.
The point of doing it like this is what I meant there. I get that the purpose is to, you know, have her be the unifier, but I don't understand the point of doing it in this way, because it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't ring true at all. It feels particularly hollow.
I mean, I'm not arguing with that. I just, it's the least of my problems with the issue, I guess is what I'm saying.
I'm just finishing the last couple pages I didn't read.
I don't know why you're bothering.
Yeah.
He has to know. He has to know how it ended, because it does say at the end, Matt, you know, next Amazon's return. So
right.
It's basically, if this dimension exists because it's linked to Hippolyta's like imagination, Hippolyta herself must still be alive. Is kind of the logic, which is fine. Like that, I mean, sure.
Yeah, it's just a bit.
Yeah, that's what Pete just summed up. Exactly what happens.
Yep.
Nothing else to see. Nothing to see here. Keep moving.
Yep, and art's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. There's never anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
As long as Jason doesn't show up in this dimension, I'll be okay.
I feel bad, because usually Wonder Woman's a really positive section of the show.
Yeah.
And obviously we're being quite down on it just now, but it's just a fill-in issue, so we'll see. Obviously Wilson's back next issue.
I'm so excited for Orlando's Justice League of Monsters, or whatever it's called.
Oh sure,
yeah.
But because we've been kind of down in Flash, which is coming up next, which is why I feel bad that it's this extended negativity.
It is, no, for like 6 months now, Wonder Woman has been, hey, this is great.
Yeah.
And then this one we're like, I suppose it's readable.
Yeah. Again, it's not bad, you know, like, it's fine. I just, like I think it was Connor that said, if this was a, you know, monthly shipping book, we just wouldn't have gotten this. You know, it would have been 3 panels in the next book. So.
Yeah. It feels like a detour. It feels like a detour to the main story, and it probably could have just been a couple of narration boxes to explain what this place is in the next issue.
I would have preferred just a delay. I just never had this issue. Just for whatever reason, we were delayed by a month instead of getting this here.
It's worth mentioning this was not something that happened last, but this was always solicited to be a fill-in issue.
It was. So. I think it was always a case of Wilson knew, okay, maybe she needed time off or something, and they were like, well, we need a second issue that month.
I'm just pointing out because everything you've said about they should have just delayed or whatever. It makes it sound like it was a more of a later decision, but it wasn't. It was always forethought that they were going to do this.
It was, but I mean, even at that conceptual level, instead of going, well, we'll put in something else in its place. They should have just gone, no, we'll just delay and just have one issue that month instead of two.
I mean, I agree with that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with just having two one month and one the next month and then back to two again. But it won't be a concern for that much longer because we're going back to single shipping. Admittedly, January's still like 6 months away, but still. We're getting there. What are you giving the issue, Matt?
I'm going to give it a 5.5.
Connor?
Just a straight 5.
Yeah, I'll give it a straight 5 as well. So there you go. 5 out of 10 for Wonder Woman.
I did like the art. I will say that much. I think Lopresti's art was the highlight.
Didn't I mention this while we were talking about the art?
Nah.
He was too busy reading the last few pages. He wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, then I'll take us on to The Flash, issue 73. Joshua Williamson writing with Howard Porter on the art. Actually, is it Howard Porter? I never actually checked.
It is, yeah.
Okay, good. I always copy and paste from the previous, week 4 for week 4 again. And then sometimes I'll forget to change the artist or the number for the issue, as you do. So Flash Year 1, this is the fourth part of it. And...
Feels longer than that.
Sorry?
Feels longer than the fourth.
It does.
I got to that. I was like, this is only the fourth part. Oh man.
I think part of that's because of how much how he sped through a lot of the stuff that felt like it should have taken more time.
Well, there's that, and these feel like they take longer to read too. So that might be it too.
Here's the weird thing. I'm in this weird place with this issue where I really like about half of it. And the half of it that I quite enjoy is the stuff with Barry and Iris and them. When she comes to see him after she's kind of freaked out about the crime scene or the event. And
the shooting?
Yeah, he's behind the door, dealing with his bullet wound. But she's like, no, I want to talk to you. And she kind of gives a bit of a monologue. I actually really liked that scene. I thought it was kind of sweet. I thought it felt like a nice Barry Iris scene. I felt like this is the sort of development I want early on from their relationship that kind of gives me these dramatic beats. And then at the end of the issue, oh no, Future Flash and Future Turtle come barreling into present day. And it's just...
There's a big section in the middle that I despise.
Which was that?
The turtle stuff?
The turtle origin exposition.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't mind that, but it did feel, again, like it went on too long.
It was a double page, 16 panels. Mm-hmm. Just pure exposition of here is the backstory. Yeah. There was nothing to it. There was no colorful way of showing it. It was just a straight telling of this backstory that went on forever, it felt like.
Yeah, but I like it that it shows the parallels between Barry and him and how different they are. Whereas family doesn't mean anything to Turtle. But for Barry, that's his driving principle.
Yeah, until he murdered them all at the end.
Well, that's what I said, that Turtle doesn't
mean anything to Turtle.
Yeah, they didn't mean anything to him. So, but with Barry, that's what drives him. It's his dad, that he's going to exonerate his dad.
Actually, on that subject, I thought it was weird. See when he brought that up, that his dad was in prison for his mum's murder, and we had this weird moment. I went, oh yeah, they've barely mentioned that in all of this Year 1 stories so far. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there, I get the purpose of it, but it went on way too long, and Turtle becomes evil, just and then I realized I don't need them, and I was just like, oh man, where's his mustache to twirl? And I just don't like the Turtle. I don't like how much the Turtle has, how much prominence he's given here, and I feel like it's only because of the things going on with Snyder and the different Doom forces.
I don't even think it's necessarily that. I think that maybe has an element with the still force.
Still force.
But
it's
also
also
the idea that slow is the opposite of fast, so therefore he must be the most
Yeah.
important.
So I mean, to be fair, I always thought the Turtle should be a bigger Flash villain just because of what his power is, because it just makes sense to battle speed with slow, if that makes sense.
No, it does, and I like how he can't get to him because of the field that Turtle creates around him.
He's just not that interesting a character beyond the powers.
But
it's like Thawne.
He's a do-over. He needs someone to come in and do like a new origin of the Turtle and make him interesting.
Well, and that's why
legacy it. Give us a new Turtle.
Sure.
We've got Baby Turtle.
Well,
just give us Baby Turtle. Grow him up and give us a new Turtle.
But that's like why I love Thawne so much as a villain, because he's not the opposite of fast, but he's the opposite of Barry. He's someone that's using these powers, not for good. And it might just be me having a lot of Thawne from Legends of Tomorrow season 2.
Wait a minute. Have you got a candle behind you?
Yeah. Oh, I've had it on.
Yeah, he had it on.
This is the second week, man.
Okay, just check. Isn't it hot? Why'd you want to get a candle on? Just adding heat to the room.
Hey, you don't light a candle for heat.
They let off so little heat.
I know you don't light a candle for heat, but any little bit of heat when you're feeling miserable from the heat is too much more heat.
No, my inside is very nice right now. I get 78. It's great, but no, this smells like plumeria, which is my favorite smell, and.
Yeah, very cool. I didn't even notice last week. I just noticed it flickering behind you. I went, wait a minute, is that a candle?
Oh yeah, I had it all last week too.
Yeah.
I know. But anyways, the whole opposite thing. I don't know.
I think the frustrations I have with this. I mean, because people can say like, well, you have these expectations because it's a year one, and I'm like, well, partly it is that, but I don't think it's just expectations, because I feel like if you're going to call your book year one and you're going to sell it as a year one, and they're going to do that as a trade, right?
It better be a damn year one.
And,
but
it should be an origin. But it's not. It's this weird. It's this weird shoehorning in of this future storyline that just I don't know.
It's this last year one,
and
we're like, well, no. If it's gonna be year one, cool. But remember, what got him into this is that Sage Force guy coming out, or whatever the Force guy that came out, and was like, oh no, Barry, this is what
remember all that shit.
Yeah, and I don't like the fact that this is he's all gonna, by the end of it, something happens to make him forget it, and it just makes it feel like it doesn't matter. Yeah,
and I also it feels like it's glossing over everything that actually should be in a year one. Like it feels like.
Might actually hit on something there, whereas it feels like it's glossed. It doesn't matter. A year one should matter to the character for all of their years following.
Wait, don't, because I take that back, because there's a Superman year one right now that I don't want to matter.
Should.
That's out of continuity.
Yeah, should's not the same as will.
Okay.
Yeah. A year one, an in continuity year one, should mean that this is setting that character up for the rest of their career.
Yes. Okay, I agree there. I just didn't want that thrown back at me.
Oh, sure.
Later.
But here's the thing: if you think of Batman Year One, that is very much Batman's origin. Even today, it's still what you think of as Batman's origin being in the comics. Green Lantern Secret Origin, Green Arrow Year One. But I'm using Secret Origin as the same thing because they're interchangeable.
Yeah, they are. Superman Secret Origin. That's the de facto now.
Yeah, I mean Superman's a weird one because he's had like 4 great origin stories. He's too many origin stories. Yeah. But you have all these year ones or secret origins, which all do a great job of being like, no, this is kind of the core. Even as many times as we might reboot over the next every 5 years or so, this core origin typically sticks for the most part, and that's what you think of as the classic origin now of that character. This does not feel like it's reinventing the origin of the Flash, and it's the one that I'll think of now going forward. It feels more like 0 year, and I'm sure I've said that before in one of the other issues, but it feels more like that.
Yeah. And then I think what annoys me though is what Matt said is, okay, it doesn't matter until we get to this point in the story that we're actually at, right? So all the stuff that Barry went through before that, this has no impact on any of that because he doesn't remember any of it. So it's not really a year one.
Yeah. No. Hell, the first arc of Wade's Flash was Wally's year one, essentially. Yeah. And that was great. It felt like it was this is the retelling of his origins to sort of like set up him up for his entire career as Flash. And that was good. So I don't know. I'm having a hard time. Like again, it's not like terrible. Like there's actually some good stuff in here that I quite like, and it's still Williamson writing Flash. His dialogue for the most part still feels like his Flash run. You know, I like Porter on Flash art. It's just it's conceptually doing a lot of things and shoehorning in a lot of elements that I'm just not that into.
Yeah. Yeah, I got excited last time when Snart showed up, and then he goes back to the back burner because of the turtle.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, Matt, what are you giving it?
I'm gonna give it a 6, but mostly because of that Porter art.
Connor?
I'll give it a 6 as well. There's just enough Irish stuff that I like to edge it into the above average territory.
Well, Number of the Beast, because I'll also give it a 6. Pretty much for the same reason. I like the Irish stuff. The relationship stuff I thought worked quite well, and it felt like those two characters. And it's more of what I would want in a year one, outside of him learning to use his powers and whatnot. So that is The Flash, which will take you two on to Justice League Dark issue 12, James Tynion the 4th, writing with Alvaro Martinez on the art. So take it away.
Yeah, so this actually cuts between two different time periods. We see Wonder Woman wanting to start up this, this league.
Justice League Dark, and we get justification of the name, which I like. Like,
of course you do.
Well, yeah, because it's like, well, why is it Justice League Dark? Like, yeah, we just call it that, but within the Justice League, how Wonder Woman sets out the argument to Batman, I love that she sticks the landing. Like, she had an idea, we'll call it Justice League Dark. Well, why? And then I feel like she worked backwards, but that reasoning is very sound.
It is, yeah.
And then on the counter to that, we have it, in that Lost City, the final stand of the magic users, and Satana and Diana show up, and we get the Lords of Chaos, which is my favorite hardcore band.
They're so good, and they kind of bring the rest of the team into being Lords of Chaos. We get a freaking demented Bobo.
Yep, with the Sword of the Night.
Yep, that thing's terrifying. Man-Bat goes all cool as shit, and Swamp Thing just grows
multiple
a bit.
Arms. Yeah, well, Swamp Thing grows a bit and is darker. Like, he looks like a tangle of branches, and there's no uniform because he's chaos. And I like the reasoning with them. Here is Naboo's like, oh no, you don't know what you've done. And Zatanna, which that wording, there's that meme that goes around every few years where it's like, if you can read this, go back and look that they're not in order.
Yeah.
Right? Because I thought they were all backwards. Until I got to one of the pages like, oh no, wait, the words are just jumbled.
Yeah, it got me on the first one. She's saying break it all. But all is LAL instead of LLA, obviously.
Right. And so, but the whole reasoning of it is magic is chaotic. The whole point of it is not to, you have these rules there, but the whole point is it's this unknown quantity, and you don't know how it's going to impact things. So you need to embrace the chaos with the order. Like, it's a very Taoist principle of, it's almost like of the Force too.
Yeah,
right?
It's all about a balance that, they're not inherently good or bad, chaos or order.
Exactly. And that by embracing the chaos, this is how they're going to beat the Lords of Order. And man, do we get a good fight from the Lords of Chaos versus the Lords of Order. And old-ass Jason Blood.
Some reinforcements, yeah.
Yeah, so we get some reinforcements. And it seems like Khalid is a new candidate for Fate again, which is cool.
Potentially, yeah.
Because he manages to trap Naboo in this, because Naboo's not paying attention to him because he's just a lowly, assistant, right? And he manages to trap him in a like a symbol type thing. I forget what he says.
Yeah.
But we also get Jason Blood in a new form, right? So he's the Demons 3 now, which is cool as shit. He has a new rhyme and everything.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So I wonder what's going on with Etrigan, right? Because Etrigan took off, right?
He did. He went back to hell
after he unbound from him. But I just feel like this is Tynion resetting the table, which I feel like. Did you read Jason Aaron's Doctor Strange?
No.
Okay, so in Jason Aaron's Doctor Strange, they made this big deal about that all magic has a cost, and we just never see it with Doctor Strange because he's so good at it. But like he has to suffer and be miserable and do all of this stuff in order to keep in touch with his magic. And this group comes through and basically destroys all the magic. And Aaron basically rebuilds the new rules of magic. And here I feel that's what Tynion's doing. He's like, look, this is how magic works now going forward, is you have to embrace the darkness a little bit and know, like, whatever lurks in the dark, we're there to fight it. And, man, it was real cool.
It was. And obviously Zatanna's the one who kind of channels the magic to trap Fate in the helmet. Because there's a bit where they kind of get the helmet off the body. And they're like, and the helmet and the cloak and the gloves just kind of float there. And he's like, you really think I need a host for this shit? Come on.
Right.
I'm better than that.
Right, but we counted on you doing that, so...
Yeah, so they trap him in the helmet, but Zatanna's spell actually kind of fixes the helmet, so no more of this half-melted shit from Brimstone.
Which I liked. I liked that the whole reason that it was melted was so he could fix it now.
Yeah.
In this new age of magic, and that now Naboo he can no longer take full control of the
which makes Fate more interesting in the sense of it's usually the other person's kind of locked in the mind and Fate comes out and takes over.
Right.
It won't be that anymore. It'll be Fate maybe in there, maybe as a guiding hand. But
Naboo in there.
Yes, Naboo.
Fate. Yeah. So, like, again, I feel like it's Doctor Strange now. Like, he is fully just DC's Doctor Strange, where he'll have to know the magic, and he can consult with Naboo, but Naboo's not, it's less Shazam and more Doctor Strange.
It's not the first time that's happened. I think the run in the 80s kind of did a similar sort of thing, where this was where Naboo was not in the helmet at all. Naboo was inside Kent Nelson's dead body. It was the whole thing.
Well, this was just the Fate, right? Just Fate.
Yeah.
Book.
Yeah. So you had Kent Nelson, who was dead, but Naboo in his body, and then you had Fate still there alongside him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, I loved it at a really good place, and we get the end conversation with Diana and Batman, and her basically him being like, "You can't do this," and she's like, "Well, Bruce, that's because you operate out of fear, and you can't fear the dark. You have to embrace the dark," and that's where the name comes from. And I like that. And I also love we get these nice moments throughout that section because it's intercut throughout. But them looking at this basement of the Hall of Justice, the normal Justice League, in Flash, like.
Well, we got a dragon skeleton. Nobody told me. What the hell's going on here? This is cool as shit.
You get to do a Justice League of Magic users? I want a Justice League of Speedsters. And I think it's John Stewart who's like, that's such a terrible idea. You don't need to do that.
And he's like, but hear me out here. And they're just like, no, Barry. No.
Yeah. So, and it's like, Tynion's so good at writing the Justice League. Why does it? Oh, wait. Because he always writes the Justice League now.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
He's got this version down, hasn't he?
He's so good at the team dynamic, like whether it was on Detective or Justice League, now Justice League Dark. Like I feel there's definitely, because what issue was this? This issue
12.
12. So it's a year into this as well, and I feel like he's out where it needs to be now. Like we had to get through the Witching Hour and all of that to get to the story that he's telling of how they're going to use these new rules of magic to fight the other kind.
Yeah, it's actually felt like this has been a year of mostly setup lately. Like I said, we're getting a new Fate next issue. The assumption is that it'll be Khalid again. My only thing is it does say a new Fate revealed, so I'm wondering, will it be someone else instead? Because obviously he had a brief run as Fate.
Yeah, but so who's also read that, though? Unless it's Man-Bat, unless they just go side complete, It's Man Bad as Fate, because he's adept at science because he's taking it from that.
But he's been kind of teaching himself magic, yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we get Zatanna and her coming to terms that this is what her father would have wanted for her, is, you know, destroy magic as we know it to rebuild it as something new.
Yeah.
Which with knowing who Zatanna is, and her basically, she is the crux of all magic in the DCU. Like, anytime you want to tell a story with magic, usually Zatanna is going to be involved, and now Constantine, because of he's no longer stuck just to Vertigo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I like what this book's doing.
Yeah, this was great.
And the Lords of Order make a run for it. So there's a couple of them still out there operating. Yeah. But I feel like they're not going to be too much trouble.
No, I think they know that they can deal with them now, so they're not a huge threat, so to speak, but they're something to be aware of in the background.
Yeah. But I also like this flipping of the Lords of Order, kind of the shit stirrers versus the Lords of Chaos.
Yeah.
Versus just Mordru. So, yeah, no, it's really good. And the art looks great. There's a lot of fun creatures at play here, because, again, all the designs of the Lords of Chaos, Justice League Dark, are really cool.
There's some great layouts. One of my favorite points issue we haven't even talked about is it's when Zatanna is in chaos form, and she's like, break it all, and she's literally grabbing panels and like scrunching them up and ripping the panels apart into just the white space behind it. Yeah. It's cool as shit.
And then you get fragmented panels all the way through until the end.
Fixed. Yeah.
Yep. Which is a really fun, nice, a nice little touch.
Yeah.
Here.
Because it all plays very straight up until that point. And then she literally just grabs a panel and just tears it apart.
Yeah.
And then everything's in, just fragments. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. A lot of good stuff here. So I feel like Pete's missing out.
Yeah. You rating that?
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 9. I really enjoyed this issue.
Maybe an 8.5, but I still really liked it.
Okay. That will take us on to the Terrifics, issue 17, Jean Luen Yang writing with Steven Segovia on the art. This is still in the digital like dome that the building's in, the Stag Industries. But they think they're talking to Stag, who's behind it all, but it's not really him. This is just a digital version of him, which is being created by the big sphere.
The Noosphere.
The Noosphere.
Yeah, no, I looked it up. It's Noosphere. Noosphere. Or the Noosphere, because it's 3 syllables. I know that much because I looked it up.
Okay.
I want to know if this is an actual thing. And it is. It's a postulated sphere or stage of evolutionary development dominated by consciousness, the mind, and interpersonal relationships. So, and that's exactly what we get from the sphere here, except that it's essentially Skynet, and it's like, nope, I'm taking this over, and the planet's going to be better because of it.
Yeah, I was getting Skynet vibes. Sends giant warrior skeletons after them, which Phantom Girl actually just shatters with her power, and they're all very impressed. But it becomes this thing again where they really want one of the Mr. Terrific's T-spheres so they can connect to the internet and get out. And a lot of it's the struggle of not giving them and not doing it. We get a little bit of backstory as to how the sphere came to existence. But ultimately, he ends up giving one over because they get his wife. They get his wife in another universe, Mrs. Terrific, and he gives one up. And it's like, we'll just have to fight it afterwards. But there's a lot of Go Terrifics Go. There's a lot of fun constructs. So they end up going through the rest of the plagues when they refuse to work with the sphere, and Plastic Man gets boils, and then his boils become little mini Plastic Men that all scatter and run away. So
they seem to be all aspects of his personality because they're trying to steal. One of them trying to steal from them, another one just cracking jokes, another one's going to cause trouble. But they need to get them all back so Plastic Man can be whole again.
Because he's just an unconscious husk with lots of holes in him at this point.
And they end up at the 8th plague, which is locusts, and they have to fight gigantic grasshoppers.
Yes, who are basically aliens. They've got like spacesuits on.
Yeah. And also, while all this is going down, Rex Metamorpho ends up with this talking mouth coming out of his chest.
As does the dog, as is elemental dog.
Yeah, later. And we find out that this is the spirit of Earth, basically Gaia, because she comes from the elements. She's there to basically tell the Terrifics, like, you can't let the Noosphere win because, it's going to throw off the balance of Mother Earth.
It also wants to absorb every life form into itself, which is very, very Tetsuo the Iron Man, for anyone who's familiar with that Japanese movie.
Sure.
It's not a Matt movie. You wouldn't like it.
No.
No. But it was making me think of that, the idea of absorbing everyone.
Iron Man, you say?
Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Pixelix is back and helping the Noosphere. But yeah, we get this thing where they end up he has to give in and give a the sphere. A lot of the issues action, but it's very enjoyable action. There's a lot of banter. There's a lot of Plastic Man doing weird shapes where he's like he's doing the, what do you call the guys who but he's dealing with the bull skeletons. He's doing the red sheet.
A matador.
Matador, thank you.
Yeah.
He's doing that. He's doing various other things. He does ropes with his fingers at one point. All very fun. So they basically split up at the end. Those are who are left. Rex and Linya are going to go look for the Plastic Men, whilst both the Terrifics are going to go and deal with the Noosphere and try and stop that. And that's kind of how we end the issue. And he's still got the mouth in his chest, for the record.
Yeah,
does Rex. So no, it's basically it's on par with what you've been getting last couple of issues.
Yeah, it's baseline, like it's consistent, and that's what I like. Although that's what we always used to say about Justice League of China and the Superman as well. So once Yang gets on a story, it's very,
I feel like though, like I hope this has some time to get through on a couple of arcs, because I feel like Justice League of China did this thing where it was solid enough early on, but it got really good after about 10 issues. Mm-hmm. Like that's when it really started to shine. So I hope he gets some time to find his feet, because I feel like this is comparable to early New Superman as opposed to the great New Superman that it became.
Well, and I was thinking too that in terms of, the Terrifics being the Fantastic Four, right? This is definitely the Galactus story, right?
Yeah,
like it's this being that wants to consume the Earth. It has a herald, but it's done in this entirely new way, and it still is Kirby-esque, because I could definitely see the Fantastic Four fighting the plagues of Egypt in some form. So I still feel like that's going forward. Like that concept wasn't lost when Lemire left. So, but yeah, no, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I'm still enjoying it. What are you giving it, Matt?
I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
I'll give it a 7. Like, I'm having fun with it, but it's definitely not like shaking my world or anything like that. So that's Terrifics issue 17, which will take us on to the Silencer issue 18, the final issue of this book. So this will be interesting to talk about. This issue essentially is Honor, who is now back with her family, who thinks she was in hiding because of the government after the hotel thing, and this issue is kind of her trying to like find out what Leviathan and Talia are up to, because she's like, well, they're going to come for me. I need to know what their movements are so that I can prepare and defend myself. Although she's met with just kind of this like, yeah, something weird's going on with Leviathan. It's basically tying into like Leviathan Rising, and that Leviathan's up to stuff. So it's basically like the future's uncertain, and that's kind of how it ends. It ends with this kind of ambiguous. She goes to answer the door. It could be the pizza guy, or it could be an assassin.
Yeah.
I actually think the kind of tying in does hurt it a little bit, in the sense that it doesn't feel like there's any closure to it, because it kind of puts her at ease at least to a point. She's like, she's low on the list of priorities. She's not a concern right now, and kind of feels like it's not anything that she earned to be, that she got out of it because of that. It was just, stuff just kind of happened, and good timing, I guess.
Yeah, nice that Connor's back in the beach again. Very delightful. I don't mind the tying in because Leviathan's what's going on, and because that she's always been associated with Leviathan and Talia, it makes sense to have a bit of a mention of what's going on with them at the end of this, just to make it feel like it's a part of the world. I think what I like about the ambiguity of the ending is that it says to me that, yeah, we're open for a lot more of her in the future. Like, yeah, the book might be over, but Silencer might be a feature in other books down the line.
Yeah. Well, like when Slade comes to talk to her too, and is like, look, he's the one that breaks it to her that Leviathan's in shambles right now. Well, the Leviathan she was a part of. Yeah. And that, go live your life, kid, is what he basically tells her. Don't make the mistakes. I was getting a mentor vibe from him, where he was like, don't make the same mistakes I did. Go live your life. And, if you got to kill some people on the side, kill people on the side. But, and then that adds to the whole, she's always going to have to be looking over her shoulder just because of all that. And, but I feel like she has gotten out because of her showing up with Nightwing back during the Percy run. Mm-hmm. So, if we see more of her like that, that'd be cool. Or if she shows up during Leviathan Rising as an ally to the detectives.
It would surprise me
cool too.
if she shows up in some form.
I think, weirdly, that would almost be too soon to have that happen. Like, right now, at the end of this, it feels like, no, she just needs to kind of spend some time with her family, not be rushing off to fight.
She can. Who knows how long this is starting? We just know that Leviathan's in shambles. So if she shows up during Leviathan Rising, it's been a couple, then
Sure.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I liked her husband, like, being kind of weird with her. Like, he's having trouble trusting her, so he goes to his therapy again and kind of talks it out a little bit. I like that it wasn't just like all is normal and forgiven, and I don't suspect anything weird. But ultimately, he's told, like, well, I mean, as loving her and wanting to help what she's going through enough to, like, kind of, like, get you over the idea that, this was kind of weird, and that maybe she is hiding something. But maybe whatever she's hiding, something that she needs help with, even if she's not willing to admit it. It left them in a place where it's okay, they're in a better place, they've got hope for the future, but the door's still, no pun intended, literally open to use her in a plot line of some kind at some point. It's a sort of character that you can see, much like she showed up in Nightwing, although it hurts to think of Nightwing before what we have now. I think it leaves her in a good place. Although this issue definitely feels like more of an epilogue issue as opposed to the conclusion issue. I feel like last issue was more where the story really ended. This was more just getting her kind of like where she is now and how what status quo is kind of set up. That's it. Because she goes to one of the gun places, the weapons like places where the Leviathan like stores stuff, and sneaks in, has a bit of a fight with one of them, and finds some stuff out. That was pretty much it. And it's been the same artist for the last little while. Not as good as when Bogdanovich was on it, but still fairly solid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Hard to complain too much about the art. I don't think there's been anything wrong with it.
It's been very consistent. Since Marion took over. So there's very little to kind of pick apart and go, that doesn't work, or that doesn't work, or whatever.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's very little to stick out and praise because it's the same as what we've had for the last 6 issues.
Yeah, when Bogdanovich was on it, I feel like we were praising it more often than not. But
yeah,
it is what it is. So I'm obviously not happy the book's ending because I like the book a lot, but it doesn't feel like it was cut so short that it feels like it's all this unfulfilled potential where it never got to actually play out its story kind of thing.
Yeah. Like I say, it feels like an epilogue, and it's a shame that it's ended. But at least, even if it ended earlier than we'd have liked, it feels like it still ended on its own terms in the story. At least, like it felt like it built up and then it didn't feel like it was rushed to the end or anything like that. It didn't feel like it was cut short. It was still like 18 issues plus an annual, right? So it wasn't like a terribly short run.
Yeah, and she gets to say goodbye to several, her friends that helped her out and covered for her when she was missing and all that kind of stuff. She has a goodbye with a few different characters, so Yeah.
Goes back to Walmart, where she's been banned.
It was when we got having that conversation there. It felt super John Wick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You've been what's it called?
Excommunicated.
Is it excommunicado?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen 3 yet, Connor?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's great.
Yeah.
I haven't seen 3 yet. I've seen 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I'll get to 3.
It's better than 2.
Yeah, they get progressive.
1.
Yeah, they get progressively better as they go, which is rare for movies. Like that.
I think 1's better than 2.
No, I think 2's better than 1. I'm moving out on this.
Yeah. Oh. They're all good though. Like, let's not.
2's still very good.
It's a nice tapestry. Like, they all fit together real well. Nothing feels, But like, my mother-in-law watched them out of order. She watched 1 and then 3, and then came back and watched 2. And I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, I think I would have enjoyed 3 more if I had watched 2 first. I was like, that's what I told you. I go, that's like you going and watching Star Wars, then jumping to Jedi, and then me coming back and like, oh man, I wish I had known that Vader was Luke's dad. That would have made 3 just really. Oh yeah, that's how you're meant to watch them.
It's particularly jarring where John Wick 3 literally picks up seconds after 2 ends.
As does 2 with 1. Like.
Yeah. Like the whole thing's over the course of like a couple of days.
Yeah. Man, I want to watch 3 again. Damn it.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
What about that belong to the home release still? What are we rating Silencer though?
I'll give it a 7.
I'm going to go 7. Jinx.
I'll go a spread share. I'll say 7.5. Yeah, there's bittersweet to say goodbye, but it's been a fun run. So we'll move on then to the final book of the week, and this is Dial H for Hero issue 4. Sam Humphries writing with Joe Quinones on the art, and Miguel and Summer are at Justice League Detroit, which is full of robots, which Batman's programmed, and Snapper Carr, who's just kind of hanging around, being useless. So.
So being Snapper Carr.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Being Snapper Carr.
That's the issue. It's just that, just the Detroit team, big robots of them, big bulky robots, and then Snapper Carr.
And then Snapper Carr, yes.
That's why I like what they did with him on Supergirl, is they gave him an actual character. He's not just the hanger-on of the Justice League.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't recall him doing a lot of actual snapping on Supergirl, though.
Well, that was his thing. He had a bad attitude. That's why he was Snapper. Like, I forget why it is in the comics.
Come on, so they couldn't have once done the thing where he's like, come on, quickly, or something like that. Just give me a snap.
Yeah. The reason it says in this, the reason that we're going with at the minute is he felt out of place, because he was the normal guy amongst the Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's Rick Jones.
So he snapped. So he had a thing.
Yeah, the thing.
Like he had a thing, like the rest of the team.
His thing was snapping. It was his superpower, yes.
Yeah.
So Snapper wants the phone. He wants to dial, and they're like, no. Every adult that she is, it's turned into this obsessed maniac who's trying to, take it from us because they're part of the Thunderbolt Club and yada yada yada. And we see Robbie Reed in the Heroverse, kind of like just being mopey. And hoping that nothing bad happens. Yeah. But Captain Thunderbolt, his spirit's still going around, and he actually manipulates the robots in the Justice League Detroit building to basically see Miguel and Summer as threats, as psychic threats. And
so starts coming to attack them. So you have the robot Justice League Detroit attacking the 3 of them.
Yep. So they go on the run, and of course they try and get out of this. Like, well, we're going to have to dial. And it's like, no, I'm going to dial. No, I'm going to dial. So all 3 of them dial at the same time, and we get 3 heroes. We get Chim Change, which is kind of like a Hulk, but instead of turning into a Hulk, she turns into a big chimp.
It's very like a noir style thing as well.
Yeah, the art style in her is very noir. Well, this is one of the things that impressed me here is you get all 3 of them on the same page, but each one's drawn in their own style. So you get her in the noir, black and white with just a touch of red, high contrast. Then you get...
It's very like Sin City.
Yeah. And then you get the Snapper Cars. He's the alien ice cream man who has a very... What would you call that style, actually?
That's a good question.
It's the sort of thing I expect like a Transformers comic from the 80s to be drawn in. But
kind of like a blocky manga kind of style.
Kinda.
No?
They're not blocky. I wouldn't say it's blocky, but just
No?
the line and the coloring. I don't know, something about it. And then you've got Miguel, who turns into a little Miguelito, who's just a kid with a cape on with no pants, and he's upset that he has no pants. So, and then the next page is
so dumb. I kind of love it.
Yeah. So the next page is actually really fun because it's like they've got like a diagonal rip down the page, and the top half that you only see some of is the origin of Chimp Change, and then the bottom half of the rip is Ice Cream.
Alien Ice Cream Man.
Alien Ice Cream Man. Yes, he's from a different planet. He's taking power of the sweet soft scoop.
Yeah, so he comes down in a big ice cream ship. And don't be afraid. I proclaim a golden age of soft serve.
Yeah, soft serve. Yes. Yeah. So that's again really nice contrast in the art styles, and then Lil Miguito's art style is kind of like a children's like storybook. That's kind of what he looks like.
And it's great. You know, what do you mean your clothes belong in the spaceship, and the spaceship's the washing machine?
Yeah, which bizarrely, I just recorded an episode of the Atomic Cinema Experiment called Rocket Man, not the Elton John thing, and it starts with a kid in his flashback in the dryer pretending that he's in like a spaceship, and he's got like a photo of the Earth outside it to make him feel like he's in a spaceship. Brilliant. Just a weird coincidence that happens to be this week with this book. So Miguel's not happy, so he keeps trying. He complains that his legs are cold, that he feels embarrassed, and he tries to dial the thing again, whilst the others are fighting. Which looks great, by the way. All the action here looks great with them fighting the robots. It turns into the black and white Stark Noir style with bullets. Little Miguito turns into like a little Viking version of Little Miguito.
He's still Little Miguelito, but just with different costumes.
Yeah, that's basically what he is. He's got like a beard. He's a little Viking. He tries it again, and what's this next one he turns into? Where are we? And then he's like he's got like a mustache.
Kind of a mismatch because he's still got like the Viking horn helmet and.
But he's got like a Hawaiian. What do you call the Hawaiian skirts, Matt? You'll know.
That's a hula skirt.
Hula skirt, yeah.
No, that's still from the Viking outfit.
Is it?
Yeah, go back.
It's like a sarong.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. No, it's still his Viking thing.
Yeah, but he's got the cape back on. Or did he have the cape before? I can't remember. But yeah, either way, it just keeps changing.
His hair's changed.
He's a little Cyclops. He's got He actually has one eye that we see, but he also has Marvel's Cyclops visor as well.
Yes. But then this is when Thunderbolt shows up and says, "Hey, I can help you if you just dial S." Basically, if you dial S, I can help you.
S for Soccer McGee.
Soccer McGee, yes. Which, unfortunately for him, lets Thunderbolt out, and Thunderbolt's back out in the real world. So Little Miguel has caused a disaster. So the issue ends with Thunderbolt escaping into a portal, and Miguel says, "You know what? No, I'm not. I can't face Superman having failed like this and brought this villain into the world." So he dives into the portal after him. So we end the book with him going through the portal in the Heroverse as the others are left behind in shock.
Yeah. Something a little bit of dialogue we should point out is Snapper's like, "Hey, I've used one of them before in reference to the Hero Dials." Implying, okay, there's more than one.
Yeah, that's true. Also worth mentioning, just that I forgot what I was going to say, to be honest. Connor jumped in with his point, and I was like, okay, I'll say that next, and I forgot what it was. Such a
Connor, that's a good point, but also, shit, I can't leave it at that. Can't give Connor confidence.
Yeah, I'd say I'm sorry, but I'm not.
Oh, that's what it was. Yes, as soon as Thunderbolt showed up, they all went back to normal. All their powers went away, and the costumes went away. That's what it was. Yeah.
One of my favorite lines was Snapper being like, "Hey, be careful with that thing. You might cause an 8th crisis."
Yeah, I like that line actually as well. Dear. No, this was delightful again, and this was probably the most focused issue because they were all in one location. Because usually they've been traveling around a lot in the previous issues. But I love this book. I am so glad that this has been extended to 12. Yeah. Very pleased by that fact.
Yeah, this
now does it feel like it's gonna be like 2 arcs, like this arc starting to get wrapped up, or does it feel like
well, it's hard because
he's just gonna continue it?
Because this is issue 4, so it's hard to tell at this point. This is definitely kind of the big thing at the end of issue 4. I can definitely see it sort of wrapping up an arc at issue 6 and then starting a new one.
I feel like this is going to end with the Thunderbolt thing, or at least to a point here, because like I say, he dives in after it. He's going to confront it so that he doesn't disappoint Superman, right? So that does feel like ramping up towards the end of the story, going into the last third. It does kind of feel like that point.
And we're definitely seeing a Superman appearance, but at either the end of the first arc or the end of the book total.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
We're seeing him meet Superman. It's totally happening. Now, I want to commend the art a lot because it does this thing where it changes styles, and they're so different in like, not even similar. Like the noir one for the chimp change versus the ice cream man. Like they're so completely different, both in coloring and line work and styles. And the book's been doing that all the way through with its origins for the characters that.
But it just works so well, doesn't it? They managed to blend it well, even when because they're against the standard, let's say, house style for the book, right? Which is the default stuff before it changes, and then you have like these 3 characters all on the same page appearing in their own styles, but still like pasted onto the backdrop of the regular style for the world around them, which should just feel out of place and wrong, but it somehow works.
No, it works. It's a example of concept meeting the just meeting the artistic kind of like ambition, right? Where they've got this weird wacky idea, but the concept actually justifies it.
It's the sort of thing where if you told me there was 4 artists in this book, I'd believe it and understand why. And the fact that there's only 1 is much more impressive.
Mm-hmm. Normally
really
we complain when like 2 different artists are trying to look the same so they don't feel jarring, but here we're actually giving this guy credit for looking as different as possible.
Right, because if you told me, oh, we're going to use 3 different artists to get all these different styles, I'd be like, sure, that makes complete sense in context of what you're doing with this book.
Shazam.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but here it would have made sense. You go, all right, different artists for a different style. The fact that it's one guy doing all of them is much more impressive.
Yeah, that is. What are you rating it?
I'm giving it 8.5.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. 8.5. It's really good. So there you go. That is the last of the books this week. Which takes us on to the section of the show where we pick our favourite stuff of the week. We do our favourite panel/moment, favourite art, favourite cover, and of course top 5 books. So Matt, what is your favourite panel/moment?
Man, this one's tough. I know what Connor's probably going to be.
I'll leave that one to him. Mine is.
Oh, you don't know?
I mean, it's probably from Justice League Dark, let's be honest.
Yeah, right. You know what? I'll take it from Action Comics. It's more of a sequence in a moment, but when Good's talking to Rose and Thorn, and you get the differences around the panels, so because it starts with roses and it ends up with stems and thorns. I'll go for that.
Okay, Connor.
I'm gonna go with, obviously from Justice League Dark, as I just said. I'm gonna go with Chaos Satana grabbing the panel and then ripping it apart.
Yep, that's what I thought you would do when you did it. So
I'm predictable, apparently.
Bizarrely, I'm actually going to go with The Flash, even though I have issues with the book overall. The scene at the door with them on either side was actually really goddamn good. So
it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that moment of the week, which is why it's frustrating that the book's not doing it for me as a whole. But best cover of the week, I'll start this one off because I'll just jump in and say the regular action cover is the one. That's the one I loved it as soon as I saw it, and I still love it now, even compared to everything else. So
me too.
Yeah, I'm actually going to agree as well.
Yeah, although I noticed they added a red cloud onto it because I remember when they first revealed it, it was just Superman flying over the fortress. But
I like that he's like escaping her.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool.
The only other cover that even provides any competition this week is the Wonder Woman variant.
Yeah. Frisian.
Yeah.
Frisian. Yeah.
All right. Best art of the week then. Connor.
That's easy. Style Age Hero.
That's a fair point. Matt?
I'm gonna go with Justice League Dark.
I would love to give it to action. There's just a couple of little things kind of holding it back, but I loved a lot of those pages and moments. But I think I'll also have to go with Dial H for Hero for the overall art. So there you go. So that takes us on to our top 5 books of the week. Matt, go on. Start taking us home.
Number 1 is Justice League Dark. Number 2 is Action Comics. Number 3 is The Terrifics. Number 4, I gotta look up what else I had. Do this book. I'm at 4. We'll go. Yes, we'll go Silencer and then Flash.
All right.
5.
Connor?
So out of my 5 books, I only really like 3 of them, but that'll be Justice League Dark, Dial H, Silencer. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess the Flash was better than Wonder Woman.
You gotta still rank them, Connor. There's 5 of them.
I'm getting there.
That's the fun of the challenge. Even when they're bad, you still have to do it. That's the fun of it.
To be very clear, it's a top 3, and then just I guess this one is better than the other.
All right. We know how you think. We understand this. You don't have to explain it again, right?
There might be new people.
I'm sure that they can feel their way around. It's fine. My number 1 is going to be Dial H for Hero. Number 2 is Action Comics. Number 3 is Silencer. Number 4 is Terrifics. And number 5... Yeah, I mean, Flash had the great moment, so I'll put that over Wonder Woman. But, I mean... It's a bit. The average this week isn't hot. It's not a great average score for me this week.
Yep, it's pretty low.
Yeah, but we're getting some new books soon. Things will be shaking up, so hopefully
get some new books as soon as next week, I believe.
We will. Yeah, I'm about to tell you what's coming next week. But yeah, and obviously we'll have Wilson back in Wonder Woman, which I expect will greatly improve next week for. So yeah, we'll look at what's coming next week from DC Comics, which in case you didn't know,
what we do.
DC Comics is the publisher that releases the books that we talk about every week. In case you hadn't gotten that yet.
In case you made it through the last, 2-ish hours without figuring that out.
Yeah, or indeed the last 160 episodes.
Well, that too.
So coming next week, we've got Adventures of the Super Sons issue 12. It is the final issue. Matt, are you still going to be covering that?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, final issue. You can knock it out of the park. Batgirl 36 is next week, which is cool. I mean, week 1 has typically been quieter, so I'm okay with a book being delayed from this week to next. So get Batgirl 36. We have one that we won't be covering, which is Batman Ninja Turtles number 3, issue 3. So this is the 3rd of the minis. Right. We have Deceased issue 3, of course. We're looking forward to that. We have the final issue of Female Furies coming out. We also have Deathstroke 45, which I did kind of gloss over. Green Lantern issue 9 is out next week, as is Harley Quinn issue 63. All these stock card variants and offers are throwing me off here. I'm used to seeing the numbers at the end. Justice League 27 is out next week. Lois Lane number 1 is out, but arguably the main event of next week, I'd say. Give us the shiny new book. May still headline Deceased.
Both covers.
Yeah. Liking both covers. I feel like I remember liking both covers from my memory. And then, is that the final thing? We have
Superman Up in the Sky.
Superman Up in the Sky issue 1.
Tom King.
That's the Walmart reprints, yeah. I'll definitely be trying that. I want to try that and talk about it.
I know obviously we didn't mention that because it's not a strict DC book, but the new Doom Patrol book from Way starts next week.
Sure, well. Yeah. If I had read the first batch, I may actually cover that in the show, but I didn't. So.
You got a week.
Oh, it's not happening. It's not happening. It's busy TV schedule right now. Come on.
It is, yeah, I
know. So that's what's coming next.
What is on in the summer?
Everything.
Yeah, Dark is on from Netflix right now. Tools Dead to the Young from Amazon. Handmaid's Tale is on. Big Little Lies is on from HBO. Stranger Things is starting this week.
Well, I know that.
Yeah, we are swamped with TV stuff.
Legion's on.
Yeah, Legion's back on. I think they're swamped, Matt.
And
absolutely
then obviously we've got the DC shows that we've still got Krypton and Swamp Thing. Young Justice is back this week.
Good Lord, you guys watch too much TV.
You're telling me.
Mostly really good TV, though, to be fair. I mean,
Yeah, but still.
Swamp Thing being the
Yeah, that is the notable exception on that list.
Yeah.
Y'all watch Good Omens?
No,
Nah.
'cause Pete didn't like the look of it because he's a boring bastard.
Shit. Well, I didn't realize they dropped them all. They Netflixed it on Prime.
Amazon usually do that.
I didn't realize that. So I was waiting for it to end, and then I found out from one of our friends through the comics group, Andrew, that they all dropped on the same day.
Hey,
so I've been waiting for no reason.
don't worry, Matt. Like there won't be any more because the Christians have petitioned that Netflix don't make any more Good Omens.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't know if Amazon said it or if Netflix. They're like, hey, we'll stop making Stranger Things when you stop making we'll stop making Good Omens when you stop making Stranger Things. One of them said it to. I think Amazon said it to Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix put out something first, said, okay, we promise we won't make any more Good Omens, which was funny because they didn't make Good Omens, it was Amazon.
And then Amazon hit back with, hey, we won't make any more Stranger Things if you won't make any more of that. Speaking of Andrew, the comic that he made backed on Kickstarter finally arrived this week.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Let us know.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. I got my sketch with it as well.
Nice. What was your sketch? I saw James's.
I got Spectre.
Oh, on the same week the Detective came out, you're like, nah.
I kind of just left it free. I was like, hey, just do any DC character. Surprise me.
Nice. Oh, that's good.
That's cool.
Cool.
Oh, GSA by John's book 3's out this week.
Yes, it is also on the non-DC side. He also got Sea of Stars, which is the new Jason Aaron creator owned.
It's also
notable.
Oh, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Also noticeable that it looks like there's a fake shark on it, which is
so it is an Aaron book then.
Yes, exactly.
And also notably, this week also has Buffy the Vampire Slayer issue 6, based on the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Wow,
Matt's was an actual new issue 1. That was
reach. That was a stretch reach. That was like me going to the top of something, and I'm short, so.
How tall are you?
I'm only 5'6". So
it's not like super short. It's on the shorter side, but
yeah,
you're not tiny.
I make up for it with my girth.
Yeah,
so,
well, we know.
I'm like,
you got the width, no height, but you got plenty of width.
I'm like a wrecking ball. That's why I love on wrestling, Pete. Heavy machinery.
Mm-hmm.
You got Otis. I say he's my spirit animal. My wife doesn't like that. Because then I start walking around the house like him. My shoulders are up more. Yeah, jeez, not a fan. But
do you know what else is next week? It's issue 3 of Star Trek Year 5. But I think this might be one of the Jody Hauser issues, maybe.
Okay. I thought, well, because
the way they're doing it is actually rotating writers. So they're doing it like 2 issues is an episode. So
right.
one to rise to that, and they've got like a writer's room.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. Is that us? Have we wrapped up the show? I think we more or less have. I do have to do the outro and stuff, but.
Oh, real quick, you know what else is next week? Because we got to get it in.
What?
You got to get the Tom Taylor drop in, but his first issue of Age of Resistance.
Is that next week?
Yeah, it's next week.
Fine, I'll play it.
Tom Taylor.
Guys, make Pete read these. Enough X-Men. Tom Taylor Star Wars. Do it.
And we'll be back next week. And next week will be, I think, the day of the World Cup final is next Sunday. So we'll be recording the night before. So we'll know which of us is in it, Matt.
I'll make you this promise. I will root for whoever wins that game. So if it is you guys, I'm fully with you.
That depends. If you beat us by a dramatic margin, yes. I will root for the other team to destroy you.
Well, it's gonna be hard with Sweden, right? You're the Viking heritage there. So, one of my favorite hockey players is from there. So, rooting interest. Yeah.
I do not care. That's why I mean that clear.
I know.
I don't care who wins.
I
don't care if US or UK get booted out. I really don't give a shit. So
that's only for Scotland ages ago.
You can't.
I don't even know it was a separate team. I thought it was a UK team.
Oh, come on.
No,
that's only for the Olympics.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I learned you guys have a rugby thing over there. It's like the Six Cup or something, where it's only the
Six Nations.
Six Nations Cup, whatever.
Yeah.
We were watching that because my friend was over, and she has a thing for Irishmen, and that Irish rugby team is jacked. Like there were some guys on there. I was like, I get it. So we were watching them just trounce. Who were they playing? I think it was France. France didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, rugby's fun though. It's like everything I want in soccer and American football in one.
It is kind of a mishmash of the two of them.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, soccer's boring because it's running back and forth, but football's boring because it's stop and go. Hey, we're going to, hit each other at varying speeds, but we're not going to stop. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Is Pete on himself yet?
Yeah, you're done?
Should we keep going and find out?
So I think in soccer you guys have the transfer wire, right? Like it's this, that's what hockey has right now, and everyone's trying to get signed, and it's very stressful.
Yeah,
the
transfer
Knights are
window.
up against,
so like twice a year,
yeah.
You get a chance to. Okay, this is when your transfers can happen.
Trade deadline, yeah. So Vegas is up against the cap because we made a lot of during the year signings, and it's been very stressful because you don't want your favorite player to get traded away for picks, for money considerations. So.
Yeah, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll give you an update on something from last week. You remember how we had that whole 10-minute conversation about Tim, and I gave Tim's own timestamp in the timestamps? I told him, I was like, hey Tim, we talked about you for like 10 minutes. His response was, only 10 minutes?
I miss him.
Sounds about right.
He's been on radio silence since on vacation.
Yep.
And I missed that.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I'm
Matt,
sure I could just text him.
I tweeted at him, informing him with glee that the Boy 2 has been delayed, and he's not even responded with his upset voice yet.
It's like because usually we'll get like a Facebook message from him. Just for me, just in the middle of the night, so I'll wake up from just a stupid message from Tim on a lot of days. I'll be like, God damn it, Tim.
I think he's out of the country. That's why. I'm not sure. He's a man of international mystery, so who knows? I said that backwards on purpose because he's not an international man. But his mystery definitely international.
He's a man of intestinal mystery.
Yeah, that too.
Oh,
wah,
dear.
wah.
All right.
Are we just making the legend of Tim grow every week now?
We are, as we should.
Yeah, the legend spreads.
The thing that made me remember
it feels
Tim,
like the Power Girl thing, where the reason there's just because they kept making them bigger every issue just to see if the editor was even paying attention. Obviously, they weren't for quite a while. And it's just right. How long do we go before Tim actually, we make up something so ridiculous about Tim that he finally notices, and it's like, hey, what the hell?
This plays into what I was going to say, where the first time I remember interacting with Tim on the internet was some Bigfoot thread where he said that he knew a girl that had such an encounter with Bigfoot that she didn't want to talk about it. So he spent the whole rest of the time of that night trying not to bring up Bigfoot, which is all he wanted to do.
That's all he wants to do half the time anyway.
Exactly. So, Tim. The Legend of Tim.
Oh my God.
Agents of Tomorrow, Legend of Tim. Mashup shirt. Get on it.
All right, I think that wraps up the show. I'm hungry, so we're wrapping up the show now. You can, of course, support us by liking and subscribing. Let us know what you thought of the comics in the comments below. You can like and subscribe, all that stuff. You can, of course, rate us on your podcast app. That does help a lot. I don't know if you can rate us on Spotify, but you can definitely rate us on just about every other podcast app you might be using. It helps people find the show and be excited by it, as I know you all are. You're all excited by the shenanigans that go on. You can support us financially over at Patreon, patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. We can support us for as little as $1 per month and get some bonuses, extras, and just keep the shows coming, basically. So keep having a look at that. And otherwise, check out other content that we do on MailFuzz TV. If you're interested in movies or TV shows, we have a lot of shows talking about those. The previously mentioned Tim's on a horror movie podcast with myself. We talk about a horror movie every week. Sometimes we put out bonus episodes as well. We just talked about one of Tim's favourite movies this week, Leprechaun 2. You can go and check out the discussion.
I saw a comment from one of the regular listeners saying it was their favourite episode.
Yes.
So probably well worth checking it out.
But so if you don't know what the plot of Leprechaun 2 is, right? That's the one where Leprechaun, played by your man Warwick Davis, who he's looking for a bride, and he can only do this every 1,000 years, and he's looking for a bride, and if he makes the woman sneeze 3 times, then she'll be his wife. That's the rules. But he goes with this guy, and then there's a little twist here where the woman that he wants to take for his wife is this guy's daughter. And Tim in the review, I shit you not, said the following thing: "This is one of the greatest twists in cinematic history." Straight face.
Show me where the lie is.
The whole thing is the lie. You have to back up a couple of steps to see the lie, because it's expanded beyond your range of vision.
Okay, well, still, show me where the lie is. I can't. It's my vision doesn't go that far. I have to see it from space.
Oh, okay. So yeah, check out Screws After Midnight. But that is us. That has been Comics from the Multiverse. This has been episode 161. And Matt, we're getting close to 169. You can make a lot of wrestling jokes on that episode.
Close.
Yeah, very close. Alright, that is us. Thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep reading DC Comics. And remember, guys, to never get lost in the Speed Force.
And long live the Legion.